Today on New Craft Workshop, we're going to show you why you should never throw away that scrap lumber. We're making 3 awesome candle holders you can sell quickly on Marketplace or on Etsy. Let's get to it. All right, let's get started with this first set of candle holders. This is going to be an extremely simple build, but you are going to need a couple tools to get this done. So let's start with our cut list. It's very simple. 4x4. We're going to need 1 6-inch long piece and 1 4-inch long piece. That's going to be it for our cut list. Now, tool list. This is going to be a little bit more than you're probably anticipating for this, but we're going to need our miter saw to cut through this. I don't think you want to do this by hand. This is 4-inch thick, so miter saw to cut this to length. We're going to need our sander or angle grinder with a carving cutter on it. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a total blank. We want this roughed up to look like it is really, really old. This is too squared off. This is too new looking. We want to roughen this up. And then we are going to drill a hole in the top of this with a Forstner bit, and you are going to need to use a Forstner or a spade bit on this. Hole saw is not going to work. We need this carved out and have a flat bottom. I'm going to use a Forstner bit. You probably should as well. So for that, we're going to use our drill press. Now, if you do not have a drill press, you can use your hand-held drill. I would recommend highly clamping this material down. Do not try to hold this while you're drilling in, especially with the Forstner bit. A Forstner bit on end grain might have a tendency to catch and jump. You don't want to tear this material up, and you definitely don't want to tear your hand up with a Forstner bit. Clamp this down, get both hands up on that drill, and let's drill our hole. So as you can see, I've already got this cut. We got a 4-inch piece, we got a 6-inch piece. We're going to head over to the sander, and we're going to just roughen this up and make this look really, really old and beat up. So let's get over here and do it. That's it. 2 pieces of 4x4, 2-inch hole drilled in the top. And as you can see on that little video, intro video I showed you to this build, when decorated, these things look really nice and they sell. We were getting $30 a set, I believe, at craft show last year when we were selling these. 30 bucks a pop for $1.50s, maybe $1.75's worth of a lumber here. A little bit of your time, rough it up, drill a couple holes. Like I said, I'm gonna put the link down below to the little glass inserts for these. They fit perfectly in here. So that's it for candle holder number 1. Let's get on to number 2. All right, let's get after this second set of candles. Now, this set is going to be put together. Let me just show you guys real quick. This is going together like this, and we are going to have a hole here for a candle and a hole here for a candle. Now, before you say anything, this is not designed for a real candle with a flame. This is designed specifically for LED tea lights. I'll put a link in the description down below. We pick them up on Amazon. They're super cheap and they work just fine in here. This is going together just like this. We are going to glue and then tack these corners together. The only thing left to do before we assemble these things is we need to drill holes in our bottom and top piece. Now, I'm going to find 2 of these that look great on the top. These are going to be my top pieces. This one for sure, and this one. Those will be my top two. And then we've got two good pieces for our bottom, and then these are going to be our sides for our smaller one. So these two are going to get holes centered here. These two are going to get holes centered here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to head back over to the drill press, get these holes drilled in the drill press. This particular unit, I'm not going to go quite as deep. I want the candles to stand proud a little bit, so we're going to only go about 1/4 of an inch deep in these four. So let's head back over to the drill press. And we want to find the center. Of course, the easiest one to do here is going to be this top one. We're just going to measure our length. We are right at 6 inches, so we'll just come down 3 inches and put a mark. And then our width, this is a 2x4, so it's right at 3.5. Half of that is
Anyone?
1 3/4. So there's our center mark for that one. These are the two top pieces, and then our bottom pieces inside of here is 3 1/4. Half of 3 1/4 is 1 5/8. Yes. All right. 4 holes, about 1/4 of an inch deep. All right, that's it. So I know I tell you guys this all the time, but we're using Titebond 3 because, as usual, I don't know exactly where these are going to wind up. I have a feeling these will become outdoor on the cool little table that we built in the intermediate series. So we're going to put this together with some glue, and I am actually going to use a band clamp, strap clamp, whatever you prefer to call it. You're welcome to call it whatever. We're going to put this together, glue it up. Once it's glued and set, we will go over this. It's a little sharp. I thought we weren't going to have to sand, but we're going to have to sand. It's no big deal. We're just going to actually take some sandpaper and rough this up by hand just to kind of get rid of this sharp edge once it's done. So we're going to glue this up and we're going to pop this together. Now, I did mention earlier that I was going to show you 2 different ways to put this together. I lied. We're only going to do it one way if I can find my painter's tape. We're just going to put this down on some painter's tape, fold this up, and that will hold this more than adequate on this rustic candle holder. So give me a minute. I have no idea where my painter's tape is, but I'll find it. I'll be right back.
8 hours later.
All right, I'm back. So for those of you who have never put anything like this together before, we are simply going to lay out some painter's tape, if I can get it off my finger on the other end, and we're going to use 2 of these because this is kind of wide. And then we're just going to butt this up against here, get that as tight as we can, and then we can just simply glue in here, fold this up. God, I don't know why I continue to leave my lid open, and then I pay the price because my glue doesn't want to come out. So we're going to glue these up. Don't forget your ends because they need some love too. And then we're just going to spread this around. We want a nice good coating on here, and I clearly don't have enough glue. All right, and now we just kind of fold this up. And where this joint comes together, we'll just make sure we pull our tape as tight as we can get it. Set this down, just kind of make sure our miters are together as good as they can. Remember, this is rustic. That's the look we're going for. This is not high-end furniture. All right, and that is it. I'm going to put the other one together so I can have them decorated and show you guys in the intro video, which already happened, but it happens later because I edit it. So
Magic.
$5, 5 minutes of your time. This is a pretty high profit item right here. Item 2, done. Let's get to item 3. All right, let's get after this third one. This one's going to be the easiest by far. We are going to take a 16-inch long piece of 2x4. Notice I didn't put up the cut list because you don't need it. It's one 2x4, 16 inches. What we're going to do, let me find my tape measure. We are going to find the center for all of our holes. Now we're going to make this to hold 5 candles, and our bit is 2 inches in diameter. So we're going to come and leave a 1-inch gap on the end, which means our hole center needs to be at 2 inches. The edge of that hole would be at 3. We want a gap in between, so the edge of the next hole would be at 4. So the center will be at 5. Now, did that confuse you enough? If you don't want to do math, just know that we're putting our centers at 2, 5, 8, 11, and 14. That's going to give us a 1-inch gap on the end and a 1-inch gap in between each candle. Center of a 2x4 is, as always, 1 3/4 of an inch. You guys should know that by now. We've only talked about that on this channel a million times. So I'm going to set up my square at 1 3/4, and we're just going to center these holes. This particular candle holder can be dressed up a ton of different ways. The way you're going to see it when it's decorated in our video is I'm going to do the same thing with this 2x4 that I did with the 4x4s in the first candle. I'm going to run this over the sandal. Yeah, I'm not going to run it over my sandal because I don't own any sandals.
The man is wearing sandals.
But I'm going to run it over my sander and make this look like a very old, rustic, reclaimed piece of wood because, you know, people love that stuff. We're going to drill 5 holes in this, rough this board up a whole hell of a lot, stain it, and this thing is going to look great. This is a scrap piece of 2x4 that you could probably get 20 bucks for at a craft show, and it cost you 20 cents. So let's do this. All right, that's it. Could it be more simple? We took a scrap piece of 2x4, we drilled 5 holes in it. We're going to stain this and make it look very old. We're going to drop 5 glass inserts and some tea lights in this thing, and I guarantee you, you could get 25 bucks for this at a craft show if you're going to include the tea lights as well. Good profit for literally 3 minutes worth of work. That's all I got for you today, guys. As always, I appreciate you spending a little bit of time and joining me for this really quick video that I decided to do while I was out here making this stuff anyway. So as always, we'll catch you guys on YouTube.